Public figures, shifting politics, and media platforms are driving a surge of attention toward Ibogaine, framing it as a breakthrough in addiction. This scale of attention creates a specific pressure. Expectations and financial investment are rising faster than the medical and psychological structures required to manage them safely. There is a legitimate pharmacological basis for the excitement. Ibogaine can profoundly interrupt physical withdrawal and disrupt psychological patterns that have been entrenched for years. However, the current narrative often positions this powerful physiological intervention as a standalone, premium solution, a fix that exists independently of a patient's life. Relying on a temporary physiological interruption to do the work of a long-term recovery system creates a structural gap, often leading back to the very patterns the treatment was meant to break. History shows a recurring pattern in addiction care. We implement detox programs without aftercare, or provide medication while ignoring the lack of social stability in a patient's life. This creates a trap of insight without support. A patient may achieve a profound psychological shift during treatment, only to return to the same environment and relationships that fueled their addiction. Even when the experience is genuine and the shift in mindset is real, it cannot sustain itself without a surrounding structure. Without integration, the experience remains a temporary high point followed by an inevitable return to the baseline. Sustained recovery functions as a system rather than an isolated moment. To map a functional system, we use the Collins window. The medical quadrant handles physiological reality. Due to cardiac risks, clinical screening and constant supervision are non-negotiable. The biopsychosocial quadrant accounts for history. Trauma, environment, and relationships determine if the experience is used constructively. A powerful medical intervention is fragile when dropped into an unsupported environment without rigorous preparation. The community quadrant focuses on relationships. Behavioral change survives when anchored by accountability. The coaching quadrant manages the timeline, translating insight into daily action. But models risk distortion. If the narrative focuses entirely on the experience, the other pillars shrink, unable to support the patient. This distortion leads to an inevitable collapse. When the experience is everything and integration is nothing, recovery lacks the structure to survive reality. The metric of success moves past the drug itself. We must look at what changes in behavior and relationships occur once the person comes home. Integration is the actual work of recovery. The medical experience is merely the opening. Without this systemic balance, Ibogaine risks being commercialized as a premium product for those who can afford it, a luxury retreat that lacks essential long-term safeguards. However, there is an opportunity to move away from purely punitive models and recognize that there are multiple, complex pathways to recovery. This allows for the reintroduction of human depth and behavioral ritual into clinical systems that have long been rigid and impersonal. The responsibility lies in how the medical and coaching fields choose to hold this tool and whether they build the systems necessary to sustain it. This is where the professional coach becomes vital. Their role exists in the quiet work of holding continuity and supporting behavior change weeks after the initial motivation begins to fluctuate. Ultimately, no chemical intervention replaces personal agency. The substance may open a path, but the individual remains responsible for the daily work of walking it. Ibogaine temporarily softens rigid neurological patterns, offering a period of flexibility where a person can see themselves differently, allowing new behaviors to take root. The long-term value of this widening perspective depends on the steadiness of the communities, the accountability, and the systems we build around these moments of potential change.